Hey there, crew, welcome back to another episode with us at Home Media Bliss. I am Eddie, your host. And if you just found us, thanks for stopping by. And if you've been following us, thanks for coming back and watching us to do our thing.
Pardon for the interruption, crew, but I just want to say that you should definitely stick around to the end of the video because my dad is going to have an amazing demonstration of the sound system that we're going to be finally programming and installing in this video. So please enjoy the video.
Today we're back at our old Japan job. Now you might have seen some videos of us previously here. We were running some speaker wire, burying it, and we were also installing a Samsung Terrace outdoor 75-inch TV above a stone fireplace where we had to cut some stone, fix the outlet and stuff. Today, actually, we are back finally because they finished the pergola shades, and that's what we needed to hold on because that was holding us from installing the speakers and running the wires. Today, we're bringing in the strong FS Series 27 space Av Rack, and if from in here, if you notice, what we do sometimes is that we prepare the rack back at our office, and then in here we already have some cooling fans, we got some shelves, we got some breathing grills. I have 3 Sonos ports in here, and if you notice, Justin, get a shot of that. We're gonna be working with a Sony ES Z1000 ES series receiver for the outdoor subwoofer, which is gonna be a Surface 15-inch outdoor subwoofer from Sonance. We're gonna be pushing that with an Episode EM Sub 1D300, and then for the fire pit and also the jacuzzi area, we're going to be working with Sonance D100 amplifiers, which is actually a 2-channel 100 amps, and then down at the bottom over here, you don't really see it, we're working with the Wattbox IP 800 controllable 12 IP outlets that we're going to be controlling over the network. Actually, that's the front. Let me show you what the back looks like. Okay, folks, so here's a rear view of the back of the rack. It's not fully dressed up yet because we're gonna wheel this into the customer's house. And if you notice, nothing is connected yet, but we prepped up some of the work already back at the office. We got the Sonos ports right over here wired up. And we have here a 16 outlet for Middle Atlantic strip bar that's gonna be on the side so we can power up some things. We got the cooling fan on the top. I got here's the back of the Sony ES1000 receiver. Nothing is connected yet, but the reason why we chose this receiver particularly because it has a feature called Works with Sonos, meaning that when the client fires up the Sonos app on this particular zone, well, the port is gonna communicate via the network to the Sony ES and actually turn it on and control the volume. So he doesn't have to use like a third-party remote or anything. Over here, these are the Sonance 2100 series amplifiers. So we're gonna hook up the 2 Sonos ports in here via RCA, and then from here we're gonna connect the outdoor speakers right here on this Phoenix terminal. At the bottom, you can take a peek. I don't know if you want to take a close shot over here, Justin. You're gonna see that the Wattbox actually, see those orange plugs? Those are gonna be our smart control IP outlets, and then so in the program we actually control them to actually monitor some IPs, and if the IP is actually missing when they're pinging it, it's just going to try to do a self reboot and self healing, and then from there actually the client will never know something went wrong, and then from there we get notifications on our installer's app. So in the meantime, I think I'm done yapping. Let's just get this rack inside. We got some speakers to install. We got some wire that we have to run and get this stuff connected and fire it up. Let's go. All right, folks, here's Justin wheeling that rack inside. We're gonna be bringing that in and connect that inside the house. Okay, crew, me and Justin are actually father and son team. We made it on the inside and brought in that rack. You might have seen that a little bit on camera or a little bit off camera. So we are in the final room with the client's gonna want the equipment for now. I believe in a few months, we're gonna get hired again and come back in because he's gonna gut the whole house, and everything that we're doing today is gonna get redone and possibly be moved to another room. So this is the unit that the client actually had the router and an existing Sonos amp and a bunch of IoT devices, which is Internet of Things. So now let's show you where we're working right over here, where the rack has migrated into this corner. See all the wiring that's over here? We're getting rid of most of all that wiring in here. And in here, we already got, me and Justin have pre-set up some of the stuff. We got the Fios router in here. We got an Orbi repeater for Wi-Fi. We have a Bond RF controller, which is controlling the pergola window and the shades. We have a Lutron Caseta controller. And then over here, we also have, what is this thing on here? This is actually a Samsung SmartThings device. Okay, so the first rule that we have to establish, folks, we have to establish power. So now, check this out, Justin. We already got our Wattbox already plugged in into the wall, so we have some power. Now, the next thing that we're gonna do is that we're gonna wanna power up our side strip. And then from here, see, actually we're gonna go ahead and tail in our own custom connection. I'm actually gonna go ahead and run the plug from here, and here, open this up, and then I'm gonna tail up a custom connection right here so we can power up all these strips, which is gonna be all that power for all those devices that are gonna be powered up on the side.
For those that were wondering, crew, my dad did ground the power strip, the rack, and the watt box, since those can act like current conductors. So for our safety and the safety of the homeowner, neither of us will get shocked when working with the rack, since the rack will never be energized due to the grounding that my dad did.
All right, in the meantime, I believe the best thing to do is jump on a time lapse. Father and son's gonna work together. Me and Justin, we're gonna try, it's hard, at least give him music outside, get these Sonos fired up and these Sonos amps fired up as well. So let's go. So now that we have established full power to the rack, what we're gonna do, we're gonna remove these side panels in front door of the rack. Also, rearrange some of these shelves and grills so we can make spacing for future equipment. Now we are plugging in some of these Woolworth, Verizon router, the Orbi, the Caseta, and the Bond, which they have those big plugs that can take multi outlets. So then we plug in that on the side strip, and then you can see a lot of the wiring that's coming in from the wall. That's actually the existing grandfathered in ONT feed from Verizon Fios, as well as a coax. And Justin is making his best that he can do to manage some of these wires. That orange cable is the long cable that the client was actually using from the router all the way to his desk across the floor. So we're going to obey that. Now you're going to see me and Justin, I'm bringing in some of the wiring from the outside for the outside speakers, and he's trying his best to rearrange some of these wires. Now remember, it's not going to be pretty. We're not trying to win a beauty contest, because we're going to come back another day and rearrange all these wires again. And we're also going to get rid of the Verizon router from the top, as well as the Orbi. Now the client's actually double natting because he decided to DIY himself his own network, and then of course that's not working too correctly. But we're going to come back and we're going to put a nice enterprise beefed up Wi-Fi throughout the house with amazing Wi-Fi speeds and amazing hardline speeds network.
And while my dad and I were inside working on the rack, Gus in the meantime was working outside, simply running the wires on the outside so that tomorrow they'll be ready for us to come back really quickly, dig up the trench that they need to be buried in, and finish up whatever is left on the job.
Hey there, crew. It is the next day. We're back on the job, and today what we have left to do is to get the Pergola Cinema speakers going. If you can see right underneath this, here's the cable that Gus began running yesterday. So we got our two Cat 6s, two 14.4s, and a single 14.2, all burial cable. So what we got to do left is actually get this wire all the way back into the house. You can see that Gus is already in action doing a little bit of digging. There's Justin over there on the Pergola. He's actually making the splices, putting the waterproof butt connectors and the pigtails, waterproof pigtails on the speaker wire that we got up there for the two rears and the two front highs. And then we have our speaker wire that's gonna go for our 3-channel LCR underneath the TV, the speaker bar. And then pretty soon we're gonna do a little reveal on that Sonos outdoor surface level subwoofer. And what we also got to do, we got a little 1.25 inch PCV pipe with the 1.25 inch angle adapter on there that we're going to hide our wires. And then from there, we're going to go along the house over here and hide all these cables and get the cinema fired up today. All right, so let's go. So Gus is digging his trench, and Justin, it's on the Pergola. As you can see him right here. He's installing the speakers and the wiring. I'm going to make myself a little useful and try to manage some of these wires that are coming out of the fireplace that Gus ran yesterday, and that'll be by installing them into some PCB sleeves that we're going to be putting in there so we can protect the wire. And I think I had an angle one plus a 10-inch cut that's going to be protecting the wire all the way down to the ground. And now here's the side of the view of the house where Gus already dug a trench in the doggy bathroom. He removed the pavers, and now I'm handing him the wires so he can put it on the trench that he dug. And we got to be super careful around these AC units so we don't break the copper pipes that are feeding the AC. Now Gus is in front of the house putting on the wire, and that window there, it is the rack, and that's where we're going to shove our wires. Already, crew, a little bit of a follow-up between these time lapses that Justin has put together for you. And speaking of Justin, he's over here actually taking care of the front Atmos speakers that are going to be in the front. And he already took care of the rear speakers over here in the Pergola. You also saw Gus over here. He's actually digging up the trenches along the house. We're going to hide our front wires that are taking care of the TV above the fireplace. We also install our angle PCB conduit over here that's going to hide all our cables nice and pretty. And let me have you check over here where we dug. Apologies for the shadow, crew, but there it is. We dug all that out. We're going to hide all that cable. This cable that's over here is going to take care of the Sonos Surface subwoofer. We're gonna do a little reveal on that. On top of that subwoofer, you can see that was the previous Bose outdoor bucket speakers. We're gonna replace that. Those are gone. Here's one more over here. They don't no longer work anymore. Check it out over here. Here's all the wiring. Let me see if I can have you give you a peek of that. If you can see that over here. I don't know if you can make that out. There's all the wires going through there. And right around over here, we got Gus with his yellow wheelbarrow. He's actually matching with his jacket. He's over here in the outdoor doggy bathroom. You can see that little cool looking little fire extinguisher right there for the doggy. So he's digging out a trench over here. Forgive the shadow, but he's actually digging out a trench so we can hide our wires in here. And then we're gonna reinstall those stones back up again, all those pavers right back in there. And our wires are gonna continue right over here. And from there, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna start burying this cable. I got a green light from Gus to do it. And then I'm just waiting on him to give me a green light so I can give him the wires so we can backfeed back into the house. Justin continues to work on those speakers. I'm just gonna go ahead and again, get on the floor and bury that wire. Let's go.
Alrighty folks, so it looks like I'm either narrating the video out of sequence or we're editing out of sequence, but the wires are actually ran already. And now we're gonna give Gus a little spotlight over here that he's gonna bury the speaker wire again on the trench that he dug. He's putting the mini gravel back again on this doggy bathroom, and he also put the pavers and the fencing. And then we were lucky enough not to find any doggy chocolate surprises on his bathroom, so we were lucky about that. And here's Gus just covering all that up. Now Gus is gonna move over here to the side of the pergola. Oh, is he texting on the job? Wait a minute, no, but he's super Gus. Anyways, so what he's doing, he's exposing the 15-inch Sonos Surface subwoofer, and right there on the floor, you're gonna see that we have the 14.4 speaker cable that we buried on the ground, and he's gonna unify the white one and the red, and then he's gonna also unify the green one and the black. So he's gonna turn this into a 12-2 wire, nice and thick, so we can bring some strong signal for the subwoofer and do no loss. Alrighty, so enjoy.
All right, crew, bit of an update. All the wires have been pulled and buried, if you can see from those time lapse. There is Justin over here still working on one of the last speakers. Now I'm actually gonna jump in at the back of the TV. And then here's our wires. We got two Cat 6s, one 14.4 and one 14.2, which is what we need to get this TV going. And also with the speaker bar. And Gus is on the side taking care of that doggy room. He's putting all the pavers back and all the gravel back in there. So my job is to manage some of this wire right back here, clean this up, and get to the Samsung compartment, terminate the two Cat 6s, and then over here on the speaker, connect it to the 14.2 for the center and the 14.4, which is gonna be our left or right on our speaker bar. All right, so let me take care of that.
For this behind the scenes look of me wiring the back of the TV, I put the camera right on the fireplace mantle, and you can see that I'm going along the elbow joint of the bracket, so when the TV falls back, it doesn't damage the wire. Now folks, remember this is outdoor wiring, so it's okay to be exposed. Now you can put a nice little sock sleeve behind the TV, which is great, but nobody's going to see that because the TV is going to push right back. And right here you see me that I'm terminating the speaker wires, connecting the LCR speaker wire. And did I mention throughout the video that this is an outdoor speaker bar, not a sound bar, so it's rated to be outside.
Hey there, crew. It is now a week later. We actually had to come back because we were experimenting some issues between the TV and the Sony receiver. The ARC was not working correctly, especially when the client was using the Sonos. There's a feature on the Sony receiver called Works with Sonos. And what's happening was that the input was being stuck on the Sonos input whenever the TV would be turning on. So then the client would have to come in here and switch the input. So in order to alleviate that issue, we decided to just give him a URC 790 radio frequency remote, and then this would actually, the client was actually toggling between the Fios remote and the Sony remote and the Samsung remote because the ARC was not working correctly.
Actually, Dad, it was never the ARC that wasn't working correctly, but it was actually the CEC, which that stands for Consumer Electronics Control.
So we decided to just kind of give him a 790 URC remote. Works great. We tested it. It works great. Now we are also done with the rack. Let's take a peek over here. And we have some wiring on there. Don't judge it because remember, we're going to come back on another day. The client's going to completely gut this house. So we're going to redo this rack. And in fact, the rack might not even finish here. It might be going to another side of the house. So in here, just do a little quick intro. We have our Rackness basic switch. All this equipment in here is going to go away. Whenever we come back, we're going to introduce a way more beefier network, more bulletproof. So for today, the client's just going to deal with some of these over-the-counter equipment, and so we put it up on top. We don't want to put Wi-Fi equipment inside of the rack because it'll kill the signal. So we have a switch, pool controller, Samsung SmartThings, Lutron Caseta switch, Caseta controller, Orbi Wi-Fi, Verizon Fios. We got a Fios cable box, 3 Sonos port. We have our Sony ES receiver, our Episode subwoofer amplifier, and our 2 Sonos outdoor amplifiers to push the Patio 4 ones that we installed on the previous video. Alrighty crew, looks like we're coming almost to the end of this job and almost to the end of this video. We're gonna do a small little recap on what we've done on this job. Let's go. Alrighty crew, so right behind me you can see the outdoor pergola cinema that we did for the client. And in one of our earlier videos, you saw us install this outdoor audio system from Sonos, which is called the 4-1. Remember, we were installing the subwoofer and we were installing also the outdoor satellite speakers. And I think it's Justin's gonna creep around over here so we can give you a small demo of what this speaker sound like. All right, now Justin, come over here this way, all right? Show the folks over here that speaker so they can see how that speaker works. All right, I'm gonna hit play. I'm gonna play music. Ready?
Hey media crew, due to copyright rules, my dad decided to add his own soundtrack to the Sonos system. So if anything, I hope you enjoy this.
Here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Whoa, did you hear that? Did you hear that? That sounded amazing. Now, let's go over here to the subwoofer. Let's go over here to the subwoofer. We're gonna hear some amazing bass coming out of the subwoofer. Check it out. Justin, go right there, right there. We're gonna boom, 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 boom. Whoa, amazing bass traveling through the whole floor. And we also get that over here in the jacuzzi. Let's go check that out. Alrighty crew, so to my left, you saw me at the fire pit. Now over here to the right, it is the jacuzzi where you saw Gus in our previous video here. He was actually burying the subwoofer and the satellite system. Check it out over here. We got the subwoofer and we got the satellite. So Justin, get a nice little up close so customers can, our followers can hear that music coming in. Ready? Here we go. I'm gonna hit play. Boom, 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 boom. Whoa, that's amazing. Now what about over here? What about some bass? What about some bass right here? All right, boom, 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 boom. Whoa, amazing. I can feel the whole floor rattling. The last thing to do, folks, is to give you a small demo or at least show you the pieces that we installed in the cinema. Actually, correction, the outdoor pergola. We like to call it we're gonna call that the outdoor cinematic pergola or the pergola cinema. I don't know. Let's go over there. And for the outdoor pergola, we installed a 75 Samsung Terrace with the Definitive Technology Mythos, which is actually a 3-channel speaker bar. You got your center, your right, and your left. We also have 2 Sonos Mariners acting as highs. We have our high right and our high left. And following it up over here, we got 2 Mariners that we're actually using as rears. And for deep bass that's going to be traveling all through this pergola floor, we are using a Sonos outdoor surface level subwoofer. Okay folks, I think we're going to come to the end of the video. We have picture and sound and control to the client. And for those that stick with us, make sure that you subscribe, follow us, share with others, and stick around for the next Home Media Bliss video. And we're going to leave you with a little video montage.